Some new developments coming from the NBA. I'm Sierra Goodwill here with Jimmy Toscano, Adrian Wojnarowski, dropping some bombs again, even though the season is not in session. It does seem like the NBA is making moves towards a possible return. Now, all clubs and organizations are reaching out to their players and asking them a yes or no question, whether or not they would like to try to resume this current season. Jimmy, in your estimation, do you think all the NBA players are probably replying yes?
No, I don't think all of them are. Definitely not. I think this is the NBA doing its due diligence. Like any situation, you have to gauge what everyone's feelings are and what their opinions are going forward. There are certainly going to be some players who don't care or don't think it's that serious, or single guys don't really have anybody else to worry about but themselves, want to make some money going into the summer, all that stuff. And then you've got your maybe your older players who have families and they've got a lot of other things to worry about and to consider. And there's just zero chance that you're going to get 100. I mean, 100% out of the question. I'm wondering if they'd even get 75%, because, and the other thing is this, you're eventually going to hear of a superstar that isn't cool with playing, right? I mean, at some point we'll hear about that. So I'm wondering how that's going to affect, the NBA's decision, how that affects, like, whether teams come back and just play without certain players who aren't there, how fans react to that situation. It's kind of unfair to put players in this position where people are questioning their toughness and things like that, because there are people out there, fans, who don't think that COVID-19 is serious, and then there are fans who do. So why would the players be any different? They're human beings at the end of the day. Yeah, they're, superstars or celebrities, but at the end of the day, I think we're seeing more than ever that we're all a lot more similar than we've ever been right now, because we're all kind of stuck doing the same thing.
Yeah, I definitely think the majority is going to say yes. I was reading into a couple of responses when Woj dropped this news, and it was a lot of people were saying if these players have a competitive bone in their body, they're going to say yes, because the notion is the only way that the NBA returns is if it's safe and if it gets approved and if Adam Silver decides it's in the best interest of the league and the players want to play. But then you think of players like Karl Anthony Towns and other players who have actually lost family members due to COVID-19 might have a little bit different perspective than these other players that haven't directly been affected in that way. So I do think it will be an overwhelmingly positive response from the players who want to get back out on the court, especially when LeBron James, the face of the league, has repeatedly said time and time again, we want to continue to play. But I do think there's some players with different perspective that will kind of even out the playing field a little bit. Though, also more news, Adam Silver was saying how the only way that the NBA returns is if a player gets diagnosed during the season, that it doesn't shut down the entire operation again. There needs to be a way to contain COVID-19 if it spreads to the NBA players again, if they do choose to resume. And there's supposed to be a decision on whether or not the NBA is going to resume within the next couple of weeks. Are you gaining confidence that it's going to happen?
I wouldn't say, listen, I don't want to be like poo-pooing the NBA's return and all that. I want them to play just as much as everybody else, but I wouldn't say I have growing confidence based on what I've heard. I mean, of course, if you were going to come back, you couldn't be on a one-strike policy where if one person gets it, then shut the whole thing down. That would make no sense, because it's likely to happen, right? I mean, if all these people are going to be getting together, I mean, I shouldn't say it's likely, but it's very possible, right? I mean, it's possible that could happen in any, on any organization team. You've got employees coming in and out. So I think they're going to do as much as possible to minimize that chance. But if it does happen, then what? Okay, you don't cancel the season, but that player goes into a quarantine or he's out, and now everyone on the team has to be tested, and there's a waiting period for that. And then the team they last played, it's like, it's a domino effect. So and then what? Do you have to postpone the game that was supposed to be played, or you're playing man down? Like, there's so many questions that are unanswered and will just be, I think, they're just going to be unanswered, because it just seems to me like it's really rushing it back. And again, I want them to play, and I obviously understand why LeBron wants them to play, because it sucks for LeBron, because the Lakers were, in most people's opinion, the favorites to win the championship. And 20 years from now, if this season doesn't get played, That's one less championship that's going to be on his resume when we're watching the documentary of LeBron James in 20 years and compare him to Michael Jordan. Or he's got one less championship, and there'll be maybe one episode dedicated to the season that was lost to COVID-19. But it just sucks, and I get it, and I understand why players want to play. But you definitely don't want to put people's health at risk. We know that fans aren't going to be there anyway. So, yeah, it gives the fans something to watch. But it's putting the players, I think, it's putting some players in an uncomfortable position where they almost have to, with so many unknowns, they almost have to pretend to be tougher than maybe they want to be right now.
Right. Yeah, I worry about the logistics of it all because obviously when all of this went down and a lot of NBA teams tested all their players, and the players who did come back positive, a lot of them were asymptomatic. So how do you control that? Do you test these players every single day? Does America have enough access to that amount of tests to dedicate to all these NBA players over and over again? So a lot of it is going into it. Obviously, people are working tirelessly to try to come up with any way to bring back the NBA this season. But I personally, if I was a betting woman, I would say this season is canceled. But it does seem like they're doing everything they can to exercise every potential option to bring it back.
And I think fans have to appreciate that. I mean, they're making every phone call and meeting that they can. They're pouring over the information, I'm sure, and at the end of the day, it's, Adam Silver will make the right decision that's best for not just the NBA, but the players that make the NBA what it is. It wouldn't be good leadership for him to put those players in a dangerous situation, not just the players, but the coaching staffs, their families, and everybody involved. So there's no way around it. It absolutely sucks, but I just don't know if it's feasible to return. And again, it's a race. We talked about this before. It's also a race against time now, because are you going to try to squeeze whatever you can out of this season, and what happens to next season then?
Right. Well, this Garden Report has been brought to you by Awaken 180. Get simple and sustainable weight loss at www.awaken180weightloss.com, and check out all of our content on our website at clnsmedia.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Celtics All Access.